Today I'm going to be showing you one of my favorite ways to cook with the Weber Kettle, and that's going to be the snake method. Not only can this burn for up to 16 hours, but the temperature is super easy to control. I've smoked dozens of briskets, ribs, and pork butts using this method, and it's never failed me. So if you want to learn how to master your Weber Kettle for smoking, follow along because you're going to love this. First off, you're going to want a couple basic things for this. Most importantly, our fuel. I'm using some Kingsford briquette charcoal. Now, it doesn't really matter the brand charcoal you use, as long as you stay away from the Match Light or Easy Light charcoal. When trying to smoke with those, it makes your food taste kind of gross, so stay far away from it. Next off, you're going to want some kind of wood, whether you go with chunks or chips. Both are a great option. I use them both interchangeably all the time. Stick with a lighter smoke wood like apple if you don't like as much of a smoke flavor. If you want more of a heavy smoke flavor, go with something like hickory. Next, you'll want a thermometer that has an ambient temperature probe with a grill grate clip. This will clip right onto our grate near the meat, giving us the most accurate reading where the meat sits. Then lastly, we're going to want everything we need to light the charcoal. We're going to want to use a charcoal basket along with some kind of tumbleweed or lighter cubes and a lighter, of course. Once you gather all of those, let's get on over to the kettle and we'll start setting our snake. Now I'm using my copper premium kettle today. Love this thing. I got it for only 50 bucks on my local marketplace. I've used it over hundreds of times and it's holding up really well. Now this will work for any kettle style grill. It doesn't specifically have to be the Weber Kettle, although we all know the Weber Kettle is a goat. So go ahead and set your lid to the side. We're gonna pop our cooking grate off and set this to the side. Now take your charcoal and go ahead and dump a bunch of briquettes right into the center. Doesn't have to be in any specific way. We're gonna rearrange these while we set our snake. Once all your coals are dumped in, you wanna just take these and shove them all to one side. This will make the assembly a little bit easier. Now we just want to take our briquettes, start where the snake will end, and we're going to stack them side by side. Make sure that the next ones you stack on are touching the last. This is important because as our snake burns through, we want to make sure it continues to stay lit. Once you have your first layer set, we have a couple options for our second layer. We can go 2 by 1 like this. So we basically just made a triangle with our briquettes. Now if it's a more moderate day outside, say it's nice and warm, 70 plus degrees, this should run you around 225, 250-ish. Now here right now, it's a little bit colder, facing at about 20 degrees, and I want to cook at about 250-ish. So I'm going to stack 2 by 2. So we're basically going to have 4 stacked, just like this. Just like that. Now take your leftover briquettes, about 10 to 12, and throw them into your chimney starter. And we'll set this to the side for a minute and bring in your wood. I have some apple wood here. I have some apple wood chunks or some apple wood chips. Now when you're setting the wood on your snake, you want to take your pieces and place them closer to the outside. Just like this. Now the wood will infuse whatever you're smoking with tons of flavor. Like I said, you want a little bit more of a subtle smoke flavor, go with some apple. You want a deeper, heavier smoke flavor, hickory is great. If you're not using these blocks and you're using chips, take a handful of these. I just made a mess. Sprinkle them right on the outside, just like this. Now lighting your snake is simple. You want to take your lighter cube or your tumbleweed, place it down, and we're going to light all these leftover briquettes we had. Let those get white hot and ashed over, and I'll meet you back when that's ready. As you can see here, our coals are ashed over enough to get this started, so we'll take them and dump them right at the beginning of our snake here. Now move them around, make sure they're touching the unburnt coals. This will help ramp up the temperature in the beginning and light our coals to burn our snake all the way through. Now you can replace your cooking grate. And I like to leave my bottom vent wide open. I like to start with my lid vent about 3/4 open. If I find that the temperature is too low with this, I'll go wide open. And if I find that it is too hot, you can slowly start to back this off until you see your temperatures decrease. Now we're just going to act like this piece of wood is some meat that we're cooking. So we're going to want to keep the meat directly across from the heat source. As far away as possible, we want to kind of cook it indirectly. Then we'll take our thermometer probe and we'll clip this right in front of the meat. Again, this is going to get the most accurate reading at what the temperature is where the meat is sitting. And when replacing the lid, always keep the lid vent over the meat. What that does is it allows all that heat and that smoke to drag up across the dome and over your meat. This will give it the most flavor, the most even cooking. Once your snake starts to burn through, we want to just pick up our grate and make sure we consistently turn it every so often to keep your food away from the direct heat source. And there we go, guys. The snake method is that simple. If you've tried this before, let me know what your favorite meat to smoke using the snake method is. If not, go ahead, try it out, and let me know how it works for you.